So finally, we have a schedule for the new season. Now, what I think that is probably the most obvious is that my birthday is going to be very hype this year because we don't have a home game until Sunday, September 24th for versus the Giants. So that means that the 21st, which is my birthday, will be lit. I don't even know what I plan on doing, but this is a Sunday game, so that means Friday and Saturday I can do whatever I want. And most likely our call time will probably be like 9 or 10, depending on what call time I have. But the most disturbing thing that obviously stuck out when people just couldn't hold on to the scores, hold on to the schedule even earlier in the day and had to leak stuff out, which is the reason why I'm wearing my hat. The Eagles are playing on Christmas Day against the Raiders. And it's looking like right now, tentatively, well, it probably will still be an 8:30 game at night, Christmas night, which in one sense is probably exciting because, holidays are usually sucky for people and it's quiet for me and my mom because it's just us. And, unless relatives are coming in, and no one usually comes up anymore because there's just a lot of time and money. So it'll be good to get paid on Christmas. And then two, we have our usual last game of the year, which is against the Cowboys. And that is home as well on New Year's Eve. Last year, I made the mistake on New Year's Day of trying to get to work through my normal route. And I ended up driving halfway across South Philly to avoid the mummers, got stuck, and got to work 2 hours late. So I will not be an nincompoop this year, and I will remember what holidays and what marathons are going on the week before our event day, and I will try to make sure I'm on time. I do not want 6 points. And as far as I'm concerned, the schedule doesn't really seem like it's a big deal. I'm just glad that their bye week is now on week 10 instead of week 4 like it was last year, which sucked. I don't see the opener being a win only because there's going to be so much buildup because, look, we're hype about the daggone schedule and it's freaking April 20th. So between now and September 10th, you can't tell me that, especially if we have a decent preseason or if they have a very exciting training camp and we don't have any major injuries to people, which usually happens like that 2 weeks before somebody that we always wanted and was waiting to see ends up getting injured, like something like an Achilles or some crap like that. So, and I know something was different this year because I actually watched the mock draft today on ESPN and I actually agree with some of the picks that they think are going to go in the first round. And I never usually watch that crap. So, this year is going to be a special year just because I'm more interested in all this preliminary crap before the season even starts. But I bought into it. I'm bored, whatever. I'm unemployed. So as far as I'm concerned right now, I see the first game to be a loss only because, like I said, it just may be a big hyped up game. And then they play Andy Reid in Kansas City. I see that being a loss too, only because they haven't beat Andy Reid since he left or was fired from the Eagles. So I don't see them winning in Kansas City unless Kansas City just mails it in. And then they come back home and this is our opener. Home opener, so I think they'll be extra hyped because they'll be mad about the first 2 weeks. So they're going to probably blow the pants off the Giants. And then they go to San Diego. I don't see that as a threat. I have something strong against Phillip Rivers. I have no idea where my anger comes from because it's really unfounded, but I just don't like him. So I just hope that they pummelize the Chargers. So let me see. We're doing 2 for 2. So then the Cardinals, they're going to have it home at a 1 o'clock game. And that can go either way. I can see them winning, but I can also see them losing just because the Cardinals are pretty fast, even though they don't have like any big name players. And Carson Palmer is pretty much done as far as I'm concerned. Excuse me. I'm having a head cold. I have to drink some Alka-Seltzer. And then it's a night game at the Panthers. Now, it depends on the Panthers and Cam Newton if they're focused this year and if they beef up that defense, will they be a threat? As far right now, I see a win. So I will say that so far what do we have? So we have 3 wins and 4 wins and 3 losses. So 4-3. So then they come home again. This time they're going to be having the Redskins come back to us. I feel that's going to be a win because it's Monday night, and I think whatever happens on the opener is going to reflect what happens at this game. So now I got them at 5-3. Then San Francisco, it could be a trap game. They could decide to get cocky and decide to lose it, or they could win because we don't know if there's going to be even a quarterback that's even worthy of watching. And we don't know we know who the coach is, or probably will by that time, as far as what they're doing with the team. But they don't have that much time to rebuild as far as 49ers. So whatever, they're not a threat. But I'll give them the win, 6-3. Broncos, I see a loss only because Broncos still have a pretty decent defense. Depending on, I don't know, if Doug has figured everything out in such a way that he astounds everybody by that time with his scheme or whatever, then the Broncos don't have to look that good. So it can be 7-3. Dolphins, I can kind of see them losing that. It's a Thursday night game. Just for some dumb reason. Not Dolphins, I'm sorry. This is the bye week. I'm looking at the preseason schedule. Bye week, that's a good thing. And they have a lot of time because then after the bye week, they don't have anybody to play because it goes right to November 19th, which is at Dallas. And that can just be a hype game on so many levels. I hope they win just because they should have won the last couple times they played them. They were always this close, and they could have pretty much swept them last year, but they didn't. So that'll be a win. Let's see, 8-3. Chicago Bears, they could drop that one too, but I'm going to give them that 9-3. Let's see, Seahawks is a loss automatically just because it's in Seahawks, and they've never, even if they gotten close, they never get that good with them. So that's going to be 8-4. The Rams, 9-4. Giants, again, for some reason around this time, December, they could mail it in. People could be hurt. They could be down a couple people. So I'll say that's a loss. So 9-5. The Christmas game, big game. It's home. It's Christmas. I feel like by then the pressure's going to be off, and whoever's left is going to play their hearts out. So I say that being 10-5, and then I see the New Year's Day game, either a loss or a win, depending on if they win or lose on the 19th. So I said that was going to be a win. So I feel like this is a loss. So I feel like it's going to be 10-6. Or I did that right, 11-5. 10-6 or 11-5, but basically that's how I'm playing it. I really honestly am more, I don't think it's going to be 8-8 or 9-7 year. I think for some reason they're going to have a lot more energy. Carson's going to be a lot more focused now because he knows what he's working with. Plus he has a lot more encouraging wide receivers now. So I think he's going to not be the same kind of mild Carson that he was last season. And I think he's going to have a lot more trust in his players. So it'll just be up to them if they can last long physically, mentally, and not, peter out before, December comes around. They got a nice long 2 weeks where they don't have to play, including that bye. So that's good. And then on top of that, they don't have to play Thanksgiving, but they play Christmas. So that game alone is probably going to be lit because most people are probably not going to be used to being in Philly for the holidays. So, it's going to have a different energy. It's probably going to be a good energy. I'm sure they're probably going to be wearing the black jerseys that night. Although they may not because Oakland Raiders are black and gray. So I don't know. Unless the Raiders wear a different color where they wear white, then the Eagles will wear black. Or maybe that'll be the night that they decide to introduce the Kelly Green. Who knows? That would be great. Just because it has marketing written all over it. So it would be nice if that's the night that they decide to display the 75th anniversary and or Kelly Green if Lori can get that signed off with the NFL. So, and then all that hype coming off of Christmas, coming into New Year's Eve, no one will probably really care about this game as much as they do at the one on the 19th, but it's still Cowboys, so hopefully they'll just win just to make everybody happy and end the season out. And then hopefully, pray to God, they will be in the postseason because I have yet to work a postseason, especially at home. So I didn't even plan on coming back this year, but now that I am, praise the Lord because I don't have a job, I'm praying that I get to actually work through January. So I'm just hoping to see a postseason. I feel like it's more reachable now with this quarterback simply because Your quarterback has to be clear-minded, and this kid is young and he's hungry and he's already happy with what he's got, and he doesn't even have a lot yet. So wait till he actually gets a consistent playing group. So if this kid's amped now, Carson's going to be on freaking cloud 9 by like his 3rd or 4th year. So I'm just going to pray right now that once again, I'd like to see a postseason, and once again, I'd like to see consistency. I think that's what all of us fans really want out of this team, because anything we say, 8-8, 9-7, 16-0, 13-3, whatever ridiculous scores we're all trying to predict now, we just want to see a consistent team, and we want to see a team that we can watch every single week, even during the weeks where, quote unquote, it doesn't matter. And preseason really is no indication. I mean, honestly, the only good preseason game will be the first one and the last one to see the rookies. So in between, they're going to start stripping people of series left and right, so you won't be able to see a full game on the August 17th and 24th games. So, because they'll be away as well. So, preseason doesn't really mean anything, but, being that we have to work both those games, the 31st and the 10th, I'm just going to look at it for the perspective of it's just going to be fun to be back in a football mode by then, because it seems like these 5 months are never going to end. But the draft is going to be here next weekend, so we'll be talking about that for about a couple of weeks, and then after that, next it's going to be OTAs, then it's going to be training camp, and then it's going to be whatever they decide to do in between them before preseason. So technically, football is year-round, even though we never had this much exposure and cared this much until the draft came here. So to me, football is 365. So, and this schedule coming out tonight just solidified it. So I don't think it's tough. I don't think it's easy. I mean, let's face it, every game that the Birds play sometimes still make you chew to the end of your nubs just to get through a quarter. So it really depends on what the Eagles decide to do as a team and how they decide to play every game. If their heads are in it, good results. If they're not, they won't have a good game. So, but I'm happy as a fan. And for all those who are paying attention to the wins and losses, that'll be all over sports radio and Twitter as it is right now. EAGLES, Eagles. AJ out. Bye.